So I haven't done that. I think we should just go ahead to introduce our guest speaker tonight, and the person of, so pardon me if I murder your name, to only be for tonight.
Yeah.
Dr. Timipre Okeroghene, Aghogho. Okay, PHARMD, FPCPharm, MCPAN. I can go on and start calling up all those achievements. She's a chief pharmacist, Drug Information Service Unit, Department of Pharmacy, Federal Medical Center, Yenagoa, Bayelsa State. So she's going to take us through tonight's presentation on professional communication of drug information. It's going to be an interesting talk tonight. You may want to take your notes and your pen and jot some things down. She has about 35 minutes to do that. Immediately after that, then we will take our Q&As. So if you have any questions, just hold on to it until she's done. And then, of course, she would attend to all our questions. So, my dear speaker, over to you, ma. You have the floor.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Pharmacist Showande. Thank you very much. I'm really happy to be here this evening and to have this wonderful presentation. Like you've already said, we are talking about the professional communication of drug information. You know, one of the learning objectives tonight, we are going to see what we are going to do, what's the reasons for and against writing professionally, what are some of the various steps of professional writing, what are the various writing styles and their differences, why should we use them and when should we use them. Then we are going to be talking about the list of the components of both a research and a review paper, general guidelines of writing and steps in creating newsletter, website, and how to cite references material. You may be wondering, we are talking about professional communication, but we are talking about writing. The reason is because professional communication encompasses written, oral, visual, digital, just like what we are doing now. But anytime you see any professional, anytime you see a professional that takes paper and any writing material and the person is actually writing, that person is doing professional writing. And that's why in professional communication today, we are talking about professional writing. One will be wondering, and throughout our talk today is going to be emphasizing professional writing in different aspects. Now, professional writing involves a lot. It ranges from what we do every day without even knowing that actually we are doing professional writing. It involves writing evaluation of medications, like you can be invited for hospital formulary or you can join a team. Anything all of you are doing there is actually a professional writing. Sometimes you can be involved in writing policies, procedures. Even sometimes we do a lot of extemporaneous preparations. You could be involved in writing down what you do. Those things are professional writing. Sometimes we've written 10 paper, we've written recommendations, we've done general principles. Everything we do is professional writing. But the most important thing is that the purpose of writing, whether you are doing it as a 10 paper or you are writing it as a kind of policy or procedure, the purpose of writing is to inform, instruct, and also persuade the person that you want, the person that's actually reading it. And then we also want to entertain. We want to say that because professional writing is a bit dry. And so many people don't find this part of the course interesting. So you see, most people that teach this course, they like to put some pictorial or something entertaining. Sometimes they deviate, they kind of jokes and then come back. That's because the course is a bit dry. So many pharmacists are used to clinical cases where they want to analyze and do this and that. But when it comes to this part, they see it as dry. But when you are writing this kind of a thing, you have to be involved in putting one or two things that will make it entertaining. Now, there are a lot of advantages, a lot. you yourself that you are writing, you will gain knowledge. You will also improve yourself. There are so many people that feel that actually they cannot write, but then when they start, you see that they can write too. It may also lead to some kind of fame. You know, some people will know that you can do this and they call upon you. They even consult you when they want to write. And then it can help a lot, even when you are evaluating an employee for promotion in your job. It does a lot. So it actually gives the author an opportunity to share knowledge and share ideas. But there are also disadvantages. You know, it involves a lot of work, and many people, they are not natural writers. So many people, they don't like to do it. And some people, even after taking the pain to do all these things, you see people that want to criticize what they have done, and so they are not happy at all. Some may even reject the work. They ask them that this work, it cannot be, they begin to correct, and then the work will now be rejected, and they are not happy. Another time, they may not like to do it again. So those are the disadvantage. And again, the work, it takes a lot of work, and you are not being paid. So many people, there was a time actually when they were being paid, but now, apart from some best-selling novels and all that could get you one thing or the other, so many people are not motivated to write because of this. So, but there are various steps in professional writing. The first thing you will do, you want to know why you are writing. Why do you want to write? What do you want to write? Do you have a good idea of the expected outcome, the end points of what you are writing? Then it must also be necessary to actually pick the topic too. And then for some, when you pick the topic, you also need to submit an article proposal, and that will also go further. Some people have a format depending on where you are writing and the journal you want to write. It depends. If it's also the place where you may need to, you want to write, you want to publish a work somewhere, they may need to follow the format that they have. And so it could be a topic that you have picked that somebody has actually talked of before. Then you don't want to, but you can do that same topic, but this time I can go in depth, and then it could be different. Then also, in order to make the work easy, you can also get a co-author. Somebody who writes, even it doesn't have to be a senior or a very experienced person. You can also look for somebody who is younger and is new in the profession. That person will have more time, and the person will also learn from you. So we can get a co-author. Then before the first word is actually written, you want to know the audience. Who is your target audience? Who do you want to get it to? Sometimes some of our writing want to talk to the public. It could be in a market. How will your English look like, or how will your language look like? Then if you're talking to professionals, it's going to be different. So you have to know your audience. Who are the people? Who are you writing this one to? Then the next step is the requirement of the publisher. We spoke about who are you writing? Are you going to write it in a journal? Is it a biomedical journal, or is it something for a facility in the hospital? So what are the requirements? Some of them have formats. Even our popular West African Postgraduate College of Pharmacists, if you want to publish anything there, they have a format. You must follow that format. Otherwise, you are not going to be qualified to be published. Your work is not going to be published. And so it's necessary to aim at the writing style and the depth of information. This brings us to the 3 types of writing styles that's commonly used by healthcare professionals. The pure technical style, that one is used by professionals. They address each other. And since they are the same, they know themselves, they know they are professional, the terms that they will use here, they all understand it. But this kind of style, you cannot write this kind of style to somebody like this one is approved if a physician is writing to the same people, physician. Then the middle technical style is professional are addressing professionals, but in other fields. We are talking about maybe physicians addressing pharmacists, or nurses, medical lab scientists. But the popular technical style is used by professionals addressing the lay people. We are talking about the general public. So that means you cannot go there and start talking about your medical jargons there. you want to come down low. In some cases, you may even need to speak pidgin. We've gone for medical outreach before where we even had to look for somebody who can speak the language to address the crowd. It was a community. So you don't go there and start talking about how your medical jargon. You come down to the public and tell them. Then there are general rules of writing. Once you have prepared, you finished writing, you finish your preparation, because before you start, you have to organize yourself. So it's time now to start writing. And this requires a lot of practice. First of all, you have to organize the information. You've gathered them from here and there, you have to organize them. Then the next step, you do sufficient research. You have to do a lot. Like I said, it depends on your topic. You have to organize them. It depends on what you're writing. Is it a financial report? Is it an article? Is it a performance evaluation? You have to prepare your items. Then the number 3, the author should put himself, you that you're writing, you put yourself in the person that's going to read it, puts yourself in that person's shoe. If the person reads it, what does that reader want? And how does he or she want it presented? Then the rule 4, you have to use proper spelling and also grammar. Now, many people don't cross-check again because they have computer. The computer can help you see whether there's a mistake or not. We don't want to depend on it because we have some computers that even neglect some of these things. So you still have to properly check. You check for spelling, you check for grammar. When it's much, sometimes it can be overlooked. So the rule 5, the writing should try to be entertaining. I said that before. Professional writing is a bit dry. Many people don't want to, because they feel, I want to specialize here and there. Drug information is, what am I telling people? Everything. But if you are writing and you put 1 or 2 entertaining things there, they will find it interesting. And then when you're presenting your document, it should be presentable. We don't want a document that has been stained or torn. It is not professional. Then the rule 7, when writing, it's best to keep it simple and very direct. In fact, we don't want to do it in a way that some people will be expecting you. The talk will look as if it wants to round up and then it is now starting again. No, we don't want that kind of writing. And then we want to avoid using abbreviations. Even if we do, we must write the meaning somewhere. But some abbreviations can be allowed. The units of measures, those ones can be allowed there. Then we want to use appropriate voice in writing. We don't want to be writing and be saying I, me, us, you, as if it's just a one-person thing. No, we want to generalize it and avoid using the first person or avoid using second person whenever possible, not to give people wrong impression. Then we want to be sure to give credit to where is due. There are people who you have copied from. You've read some materials, you've learned some things. And so you don't want to see yourself giving credit to somebody that is not supposed to, that you want to give credit to the person that actually did that work by doing what? Referencing that person. And notes, we are going to come to that. Then we want to walk throughout the documents in whatever order possible. Then lastly, we want to edit the document thoroughly. In fact, the 3 most important things in writing is edit, edit, edit. Sometimes we have a lot of information to give. We have so many things to talk about. But if you don't edit, you find out that people will get so tired and they just want to leave you. So we have specific document sections. A document actually has 3 main parts. We have the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. In some cases, if it is clinical studies, they have additional results and the discussions. Some even have references, tables, figures, and the abstract. It depends on what you are writing. But for the introduction, we know what you want is you want to give a clear background of your topic, your clear objective. In fact, the 2 most important paragraphs in any document is the first one and the last one. The first paragraphs will inform whoever is actually reading it, what that person is going to expect. And you should start out strong. We want to encourage the readers. And then if you have hypothesis, you can put it there. If you have policies or document, it can also be in the introduction. So, but the introduction should be short. It should contain proper reference background material, and it should show the reader that's where the document is actually heading to. So some people, when they start their introduction, they will write and get almost wanting to conclude. We don't want to do that because we have a section for conclusion. Then the body of the document contains all the details. In fact, in a research article, it can be divided into, like we've said before, method, results, discussions. And then in other documents, it can be divided into whatever section is actually appropriate. We said some publishers have their formats. You may need to follow the format how they want it, but it's important that we keep, as you are writing, the body, as you are writing, because it contains much, you make sure that you keep a balanced coverage of the material. I want to avoid unbiased, unsupported, unbiased. Then the materials, we said the body contains necessary everything that the whole work contains. And so any material that can identify a patient, we don't want that. It should be left out. But if you must put it, then you must obtain an informed consent, and even legal procedures must be followed. Otherwise, nobody would like you to publish his or her name somewhere because you want to refer to a particular matter. Then writers should also put the information in their own words. In fact, that one will demonstrate that you actually understand what you're talking about. If they don't do that, if they copy word for word, sometimes it can lead to copyright infringement, and plagiarism are actually broken. So we don't want to see ourselves copy word for word without giving credits. In overseas, this can be very serious offense. Even here, sometimes it can be called upon for copying somebody's work without, and this brings us to plagiarism, which can be considered copying another person's work or idea without giving proper credit to that person. There are times where somebody will say, I tried to reach the person, but I didn't get the person, so that's why I copied it. That's no excuse. You should also document things that actually shows that you made an attempt to reach the person, because after publishing, the person we definitely reach you. So copyright violations consist of copying another person's work, even appropriate quotation and citation, without permission. Self-plagiarism is also there, where you copy your own work. That can also lead to copyright violation. Just do the right thing. It's necessary for you to be on guard. In order to prevent all this problem, seek permission to give credit to the original author. If it is you, if you are the original author, you have to quote from yourself. Extensive quotation should be avoided also. The author should also try to put, we've said that before, should put the words in his own where possible, and obtain permission, and always cite everything. Anything you do, you cite it. Then we've gone to the conclusion. We've talked about the introduction, we've talked about the body. Now we are in the conclusion. The conclusion should be placed at the end of the body document, except for certain documents like policies or procedures. Then the conclusion should follow logically from the information presented, and should serve to summarize the information. In fact, the reader needs something to bring to their thoughts together at the end. Anything you have said in the introduction, the last paragraph of your conclusion should should be addressing things from there. So we want to avoid a situation rather than addressing the specific patient in question, which is what the reader wants to hear. So we said there are other items. Other items can be included in a specific document, like hand notes, references, conclusion. You can use bibliography software such as end notes. And also it depends, if you have table, if you have graphs, if you have figures and the rest, you can add them. Then at the end of the day, you need to submit this document. Once the document is completed, you proofread, you edit, it is ready to be submitted. We said if it's for a journal, you will need to include a cover letter as an introduction to the document. And it may also be necessary to transfer copyright forms, or if you have used them. Then if it's for a supervisor, it's possible that it will be less formal. You may not need to go through all that. Then there are some documents peer review. There are some documents that need to be published in a peer review publication like Bio Medical Journal. After you've done all that, it will still be given to some group of people that are referred to as the referees. They are referred to as the reviewers and content experts. They will go through your documents and see whether it followed the format that it has been given to you. And then to be a reviewer for a journal, anybody can be. It's just that if you want to be, you have to write a letter stating interest that you want to be a reviewer. And the journal, they will be very glad to have you, provided you have all the qualifications and the adequate credentials. Then anyone who is a reviewer should be up doing, and it should not lack expertise. The person should be willing to step aside as a reviewer of a particular paper if there are problems that comes up and is no longer recommended. Also, a reviewer should treat anything submitted to him as confidential. It's not the time for you to start saying, oh, I think I know this person, or no, it should be treated as a confidential. Otherwise, if that person is not like that, the person could be asked to stop being a content expert. Then if the document needs to be reversed too, revision of the document will be necessary in some cases. There are different reasons. Some of us that did our project in West Africa, even after all you have done, everything you have done, the document will be sent back to the college, and it will be reviewed again. There will be revision, and after everything, they will still ask you to make some corrections. So those comments given in that your request for the revision, they should be taken very, very seriously, because they can be helpful. They can be helpful. So that will even guide you in making your corrections when you are reviewing. So changes can be made. Changes can be made, but it can be made based on the comments completed within, and time is given to. When you have been told to review, time is given. So it should be taken seriously. Sometimes, however, a document may be rejected entirely. That's part of what we talked about in disadvantage of writing professionally. People feel discouraged after they've taken pain, they've done research, they've gathered material, and at the end of the day, the document has been rejected. They say it's not up to standard. Maybe there's too much to correct, too much to edit. In this case, major revision will be necessary before they can resubmit it. And sometimes they'll say, no, your work cannot pass. But there are several reasons why they can do that. We mentioned that. But the truth is that sometimes those documents that have been rejected, a similar article can accept, another article can actually accept it and manage and see what they can do to take that, So we should not give up if such thing happen. So we said it can be rejected for so many reasons. It's possible. It is possible that you can submit it to another appropriate journal after minor changes. It depends on the format. It depends on what they are looking for, and it depends on the level of the content reviewer. So galley proof. This is the final copy of the article as it appears when it is published. So it is the responsibility of the author to carefully check through, go through that there's no mistake. Check through the typesetting. Don't say it is computer have checked it. No. So this part takes a lot of work, because even the references has to be checked. You have to check for errors. Even the references also has formats. Some journals will prefer you use this or use that. So you have to follow and check. So if you don't do that, if you do all this step is necessary in order to prevent problem later. So let it not be that you are through with your work, you are comfortable. Later you are called upon again. So part you need to go and make corrections. These things can actually frustrate somebody's work. So we have a case study. Your boss comes to you and lets you know that you are assigned to write a new policy and procedure for a product that is to be added to the formulary. However, the product requires specific safety precautions where the patient to administer to patient, e.g. pre-medication of the patient, availability of resuscitation equipment, or usual preparation for the administration. And this is to be available at the approval at the next pharmacy and therapeutic committee meeting. What are going to be your first steps? Now you have progressed to the point where you have gathered materials to prepare your policy and procedure. What should be done at that stage? Once the document is written, what needs to be done next? These are what the things we have actually discussed. These are the things that you can be given, and many people have been doing this already. Many people have been involved one way or the other, either part of a team or one of them, or being the leader of a team, without even knowing that what you are doing is professional writing. So I said professional writing involves a lot. This newsletter and website is very common. Most of our facilities, they do this every time. Like in my facility, they do newsletter every 3 months. We don't have a website yet, and we know that they also have a website, but pharmacy has not had, but we are working towards that. But the newsletter gives them the related topics of things that we have, and it's shared to the physician, even the pharmacy staff themselves, let them know what is going on in the pharmacy and other healthcare providers. Sometimes even the newsletter, you can advertise if you want to, and you can tell them the drugs you have, underutilized drugs. Some drugs have been stored and nobody is even prescribing. So when you alert them through this newsletter, they will now know when they have their own forum, they can now discuss it and know that some drugs are going to expire on us if they don't prescribe it, and they will do it. It's with this newsletter that they do it. And the Drug and Therapeutic Committee is doing a lot. These are the things they discuss with the physicians, what they want them to buy, what they want them to do. And with that, they stock and they also relay back to them. Newsletters also for community pharmacists too, they use it. Although theirs may not be in, brochure. Some that have much can do that in brochure format. Some can do that in pamphlet or even leaflet. It's addressed to patients or even physicians that come, nursing home, drug companies, pharmacy organization, government and regulatory bodies, to let them know what they have and what they want to do with them. So in many cases, the newsletter are being replaced by websites. And that one is much more easier because you don't take a lot of effort to distribute them. The website sells itself. Even with the website, you can sell products. And then the only disadvantage is that some people are not good with internet and they don't want to bother themselves. And we call it, do we say that the analog, those people, they don't want to do much and you can't force them. So with those kind of people, you may still need the newsletter. And so with the website, it's very easy because you can even send it to take their mail and send it to them, and then they'll be able to consult. They can also edit your site if you like. So whether it's a newsletter or it is a website, the same step goes for them. You have to still define your audience. Who are your audience? Who are your target audience? If it's in a hospital setting, your target audience, apart from the physicians, you have the ones for the physicians and other healthcare professionals. You also have the ones for the lay public, the people that come. So you want to define the goal and identify constraint. There are a lot of constraints. With newsletter, with websites. Number one is the time. With the time, you have to prepare the newsletter and you keep on doing it. It is a continuous thing. It's not you do for this month and next month you are not there. No, you keep on doing it. Then the manpower, people who are willing to work, people who want to do, it's not you do today, I've spent a lot, I can't do that. Then the money, there's always some cost involved. Money is involved, resources too, equipments are involved. Anyhow it is, you must have a computer, you must have a printer, you must, there are some, you may need to buy color printing because there are some, you may need to put pictures and all that. So our newsletter used to have pictures of any of the pharmacists. Sometimes the pharmacists will just be in front, sometimes they'll be in the ward with snap and all that, but constraint is always there. So in order to make it continuously, we have to identify this constraint. If you don't identify it and you just start, you will definitely meet them. So they should be identified. So the website or your newsletter, the publication must look appealing. It must look professional. It should be exciting to read and easy to use and neat. If it is a website, it should be easy to use. There are some websites that are so complicated, you don't even know where to start from. You click here, another place will open. Some you expect much, you click, nothing is there. No. The person in charge of this website should make sure that it's always updated every time. And a few general rules can apply. Rule 1, you keep the publication consistent. It means that it should have its own style that is recognized by the reader. The January publication should not be looking exactly like the February publication in color and everything. People will just like, is this not the last one? No. You try to change little page to page and month by month. You change. Use appropriate software and equipment so that the costs. This will allow the pharmacy to turn out the product that looks typeset at a fraction of the cost. Then you make the newsletter or the website look good. Layout is very, very important. If it is jam-packed, people will not like to read it. It won't be interesting. Or if it is so long, too much, people will like, when will I finish? They will start from the beginning and just rush to the end. So the layout is actually important because it requires at least a little artistic ability to do that well. So you want to provide information in the website on the newsletter that is good, credible, and then timely. Want to share everything possible. If it is website, you don't want to leave it idle. Every time something should be going there. I think we had that issue in MCPAN where Pharmacist Nathan, the technical advisor in charge of website, had to be, wanted people to be bringing things, and at a point it was the one just posting. We need people who are willing. That's why we talk about identifying constraint before you start. People who are willing, send articles, send this, always want to update so that when people go to the website, they will see something to read all the time. Like we said, it can be used to even advertise. You can use it to advertise. So if it is a table you want to send there, you have to break it down. So make it useful. You make the pages easy to read and that. So in designing a website, it also has to have an address where people can easily just go in and then write something. It has to have an address. So we don't want where people will just want to get to the website. There'll be section. Let them know www what this that they can use to get into your, and the same name or address should be on the newsletter. So before getting into the items, we talked about all the proper things to do. You use proper technique, proper writing technique should be clear, concise. We don't want to waste the reader's valuable time. We don't want it to be too long or too short or too scanty. We want to make it entertaining too. So these are possible topics to cover in a website or a newsletter, because sometimes some people feel that they've talked about this, but they talk about that. What are they going to talk about again? They have run out of topic, but there are several topics that can be taught. These are examples of some topics. Even if you have done that before, you can go in depth. So what about the distribution? You've taken your time, you have written, you've done a lot, both for the website, now for the newsletter. How do you distribute it? So it is important to make sure that after all this wonderful work that you have done, this newsletter gets to the reader on a regular basis too. It's not as if it got January, it didn't get February, it didn't get March. No, it has to be regular. And let them even know, let them even be expecting it that so time, this newsletter will be ready. So in that case, you need a good distribution system. We need it. So there are so many ways. If it is for the website, you can use even this one, you can use their mailbox, you can use the intra-organization mail system. So newsletters are distributed electronically. You can use electronic, you can use computerized method. Some even have this quick response code from their tablets to share it. This is another case study. Your boss comes and lets you know that you are in charge of a new website for your department. What are the first steps to do? So lastly, we'll talk about presentation, like what we are doing here. this presentation. Once in a while, a health professional may come up and has an opportunity to present at some point in his or her career. Sometimes it depends. You may need to submit a proposal that you want to do that. You may need to submit an abstract. Then you let them know your learning objectives. The speaker will have to also prepare, and the speaker may also have to prepare a brief biography about himself or herself, so that the person who is going to introduce her will know, we have an information about that speaker and see whether the speaker is qualified to make that presentation. So we have platform or poster presentations. The platform presentations, part of what we do regularly on like what we are doing now, can present in PowerPoint, you can present in Microsoft Office, you know, but instead of concentrating on the technology, whether you are using this or using that, it's best to concentrate on the message. It's the message that actually matters. Whether I want to use a projector, you want to use an Android or iPad, it is the message that actually matters. Poster presentation, some of us that did this, like the one that like people going to Ghana now, some people will be involved in presentation there, and you will have to do a poster presentation. If you have been asked to do that, you will see that you have been given a format again. So the poster should not be bigger than a specific size. Even your font size, what that you are going to use there, it should limit number of full sentences. Even if you have a lot to write, once it is a poster, you have to be brief. You have to be brief. Even the text should not be less than 24 hours, so that anybody that is passing can just stand from far and even just read. Sometimes the poster has tables, figures, even reference, but make sure that everything is contained in that poster. Then after the presentation, the material can be made available on the internet. It's not bad. MCPAN is even working hard to see that they do that, so that all these presentations, you can go to the website. If you have missed it, and go to the website to do it. Those are the things organizations should plan. So copyright restriction may prevent individual from posting some materials, but then technology makes it easy when it is allowable. So they can even be done with presentations streaming. If it is at the website, videos can follow. You can even capture short videos, and audio visual recording too can be there. That's what the website posting can do, which it cannot have. It can hardly be on newsletter, but with the web posting, somebody can get there and watch videos and all that. That's the advantages. So case 3, you are preparing a platform presentation for a national professional meeting for the first time. What are some things that should be considered in the slide preparation? Remember, we said concentrate more on the message than the technology that you are using. If you do that, you'll be able to get your audience. But if you are bothered about how sophisticated what you want to use, you may have problem there. So the conclusion in all this, that professional writing is a skill necessary for every health professional. It simply consists of following the acceptable rules for writing that has been established by the profession to prepare a written item that is clear, concise, complete, correct, and in the appropriate format. Thank you very much. These are my references. Thank you.
Well done, Doc.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that presentation. It was awesome. I was at the point of asking you to please round up because 35 minutes was over. Okay, thank you so much. We enjoyed that piece. I took down a lot of notes. You talked about HIMRA, talked about types of writing styles, website, newsletters, so many things. I'm sure most of us have gained a lot from that. So it's time for our Q&A. So does anybody have any question to ask, or you want to clarify something?
I just stop sharing our slides so that we can have the graphic.
Okay. Can do that, yeah. Okay, so if I see a show of hands, or you can just unmute your mic and just go ahead and ask your question if there is any. Is there any question, please? Okay, I'm not sure. I'm not seeing any show of hands.
I just like to comment on our presentation.
Okay.
Do you have the floor?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yes, I want to comment her for the way she handled the presentation. She read, she understood, and she gave us clearly and simple, very educational and very interesting. And she mentioned some things like a newsletter, website creation. In most of our facilities, some people will stop publishing newsletters. We don't have a website. Those are the things we can take up and do in our various places. And there are softwares that we can deploy. If you are writing a newsletter, one of our grammar checkers, like Grammarly, QuickBooks, that we can use to edit our writings and make it more professional. So you talk about many tools here that we need to go back home and pick up and study for our newsletter. But in most of the facilities, we are not writing, we stopped writing newsletter because of the cost implications. And in most cases, we don't even have a website. So in this case, we should encourage ourselves to go into these areas and write professionally to communicate our information to our audience. That's my contribution. Thank you very much. You have done so well.
Yeah. Okay, if you look at the chat, people are commending the presentation. So thank you, Dr. Don't let me try and pronounce that name so that I won't more than okay, but we appreciate that. I want to try and look at the chat and see if there's any question for you. Okay, somebody, this is Rukat, if I say very well. Thank you for this enlightening presentation. Then another person at Dironke also saying it's a very good presentation. Okay, I guess our time is almost up. In the absence of any question, I think we have a lot of take-homes and a lot of things that we also need to work on as pharmacists. We just need to put ourselves out there, and we need to write professionally, as she has educated us tonight. We just must start from somewhere. Those of us who have started before and then we stopped somewhere, we know our challenges. I think we can pick up the baton again and run with that vision. Okay, we are clinical pharmacists. Let's take up this challenge and do the needful. Thank you all for coming around. I hope that you enjoy it. So over to you, coordinator, Dr. Bello. Thank you so much.
Okay, once again, I want to commend our speaker for the job well done. You raised and you did a very good job. Then I want to say that next meeting is going to be on a pharmacy and therapeutic committee, another very interesting area. So is there you want to apply the knowledge in communication writing to pharmacy and therapeutic committee? Pharmacy and therapeutic committee is an area we equally need to know about as pharmacists. Because if you don't know about pharmacy and therapeutic committee, there's no way you want to be functional in that committee in your facilities. Well, it is a study on its own that we need to understand. But we just feel that there's a pharmacy and therapeutic committee. We don't even know what it entails. But it's a training on its own that we need to really understand. And the next meeting is going to be on the module 13, and it's going to be on pharmacy and therapeutic committee. Then I want to advise those of us that were on this call. This DRS is about 27 training modules. Please, it is for ourselves. It's not for anybody. If you're here today, you're here for yourself. If we pick this module from 1 to 27, believe you me, it will be genius. It will be geniuses. I don't put it. It will be scholars. But these are things put together by experts all over the world. You see, this information cannot be gotten anywhere.
Thank you very much. I think somebody's making a request on the chat, and somebody needs the slides. So I'm sure Dr. Bello will do that. I think you usually post the video and the slides later on. Okay, so I think they can pick it up on the
video and the slide will be made by God's grace.
Yeah, okay. It's all right then. So thank you, everyone.
Yeah, it's the next one. So good night and see
Good
you.
night. See you then. See you next week.
Yeah, inshallah.
All right, good night.
Everybody.
Lovely.
Good night. You did a very good job. That's why people could not come up with questions.
Yes,
Dr.
yes.
Timmy.
Thank you very much.
Very,
My
very simple,
secretary.
very
My
clear.
secretary.
The
Good to see
excited
you.
was enough.
Thank you,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Very, very
Good
interesting.
night.
I appreciate
Thank
Good night,
you.
all.
Yes, you
Bye
really
bye.
tried.
See you in 2 weeks time.
Yes,
Inshallah.
sir.
Yeah.
Good night, sir.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you for the presentation.
Bye.
Wow, thank you. To
Bye.
see you.
Bye. Okay.
Good
Oh.
night.